What an episode. Definitely one of my favorites in Vrains so far. As far as we know, Vrains will end on the 25th of September and a lot of fans are worried. Well, whenever or however it ends, I'll still view Vrains as a pretty solid series. Right, starting off with the staff, as always, we have Mitsutaka Hirota doing the script, Yuta Yamamoto handling storyboard and direction, and finally we have No Gilbo as animation director. Episode 116 marks as Yuta Yamamoto's last episode on Vrains. It's always sad to see another strong staff member leave, but I do wish him well in the future. But at least he left on a high note. The storyboard and directing here are really good. Yuta does a really good job in selling the intenseness and finality of Soulburner and Revolver's final duel. There are some really good shot compositions in this episode. Despite the duel taking place in a small area, Ryuta does a really good job communicating scale, like having Revolver, the monsters and the Lost Incident building appear large compared to everything else around them. You can really tell that Ryuta really likes playing around with perspective, and that's what I really love about his storyboards. He has a very good eye for these sort of things. Then of course we have No Gilbo, proving once again why he's such a fan favorite. In addition to his gorgeous corrections, he really does a good job with the detailed damage on Revolver and Soulburner. It kinda reminds me of Kagami's work, especially with Soulburner's loose hair strands. No can really elevate an episode, especially when paired up with a good storyboarder like Ryuta. It's too bad that we'll never see the Ryuta No Gilbo combo ever again though. Speaking of corrections, there's one minor change from last week's preview. The glare or shine on the cracked edges of Revolver's visors have been removed. Which is interesting because I like that level of quality control, and the fact that they bothered to even change something so minor just shows how much they care. Moving on to the Sakuga highlights of the episode, we start off with the first half with, you guessed it, Junpei Ogawa. First notable scene is when Booster Dragon is used to destroy Violet Chimera. We get these sort of really thick, bubbly effects that kind of remind me of Junpei's cut from episode 56 with Violet Chimera Summon. After that we have some recycled animation from Revolver's Synchro Summon from episode 70. Only the first cut touched up by No. Next cut by Jumpy as well is the damage Soulburner receives from Borrowload's attack, which is utterly insane. We have some really nice smears when Soulburner scrapes and makes contact with the ground. There are some really nice wind and effects shapes, debris and smoke proofs along with it. It's just so brutal, and thank you to Crunchyroll or whoever is responsible for removing that freaking ghosting from last week. It would have just ruined this cut. We actually finally get some character acting on one of these things, which have been very few and far between in Vrains. Or aren't they? As next is my favorite cut in the episode, with Soulburner's draw, with fire effects and some subtle character acting animation during the draw. Next is Soulburner's burning draw animated by Tobi Rafue. It's nothing too overly impressive, but I do thank him for confirming this for me. Next we have Karmasep's fire effects. Though short has some really nice effect shapes, I'd really like to know who really animated this because it's actually quite nice. Finally we end with Soulburner's Transcendent Link Summon, animated by Junpei of course, and it's beautifully done. And that's all the highlights we have for episode 116. With so much work being poured into this episode, I just hope that the staff isn't overexerting themselves, with the final episode presumably airing on the 25th of this month, and of course Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 on the horizon. I am worried that they could burn themselves out. Especially Junpei, who's done a lot of cuts in this episode, especially the one from just a few episodes ago. But whatever the case, I hope that we at least see Akemi or Kenchihara in the final episode. We are in Climax mode after all. And as always, thanks for watching.
しかった君